introduction of the three people sitting here. I think you will be able to match the photos with the people.
Okay, there are 4 people sitting.
Oh, sorry, 4 people. Yes, yeah, 4 people sitting there. I can't count more than 3. So, I keep it to 1, 2, 3. That's it, and then I'm exhausted. Yeah. So 4 people, and I'm sure you can match the photos. But let me just start off with Dean Getu, ICNSR. Is that right? Yeah. He's going to be talking about industrial collaboration, highlighting the ease of business, cost effectiveness, IP sharing, and some of the results. In fact, as we were told in the beginning, this is the 3rd session. I think some people are having so much fun. They're really enjoying which is part of the thing. The idea of this session is for some of the audience to be able to showcase and explain the kind of activities that are going on and be able to introduce some ideas or listen to ideas from you for further discussions. The other 3 people who are here, I will go in this order. I hope you're not sitting in the same order, but it's okay. Professor Raghu, who handles the Robert Bosch Data Science and AI Center. And we have some interesting questions lined up for him, so I hope you're also getting ready with the questions. He's going to give a few minutes on explaining what kind of activities take place there. And then we have Professor Rao, who is handling the what I would call as the Solar Energy Harnessing Center, funded by DST. That's something that is, as you know, India is now one of the major powers in terms of they're adding almost 20 gigawatts of solar power every year. The only one, China, is the one that's kind of having a higher pace. And definitely that is something that we want to listen to. And then we have Professor Satya, who is handling the NCCRD, the National Center for Combustion Research and Development. So without much ado, I would ask, once Dean Getu is ready, we will have him on the stage. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Good morning, good to be here. So whenever alumni visit us, they wonder what happens in ICSR, this lovely building, and they want to know what we are doing and what industry gets out of working with us. And IIT, as you all know, is very well known for research and teaching. So they wonder why industry comes to us at all. So I'd like to talk a little bit about why industry feels that we are relevant, why we feel that our research is relevant to the industry and society. So I start off with this thought that we always keep in mind that we are looking at changing things. We are transforming minds of not only our students but also our faculty members, industry, to encourage them, to make it viable for them to work with us, and for our faculty to feel that it is relevant to work for industry. So these are some of the buzzwords or keywords that we try to keep in mind. We want to be relevant to society, relevant to industry. There was a lot that Professor Gadgil talked about of relevance to the undernourished or the downtrodden and so on. So this is something that we keep in mind. We have several centers which are focusing on that. I'll touch upon it later. We want to be bold. We want to encourage Make in India. We are looking for solutions that are ours, that have been developed by us, and we encourage global partnerships. We have a lot of global partnerships. Raghu here is coordinating an initiative called SPARK, which looks at professors, top-notch university and research faculty coming and spending time at IIT Madras, and there would be an exchange. So there are several such programs which are going on to become global partnerships. We want to be innovative, we want to promote innovation. We have a lot of funds which we have set aside to promote entrepreneurship and new ideas coming from our students and faculty. We have exploratory blue sky research, We have hand-holding of students who want to start off a company even while they are on campus. Pre-incubation is something very big that we feel is necessary for innovation. We want to be professional in the sense that we bring together all the resources that faculty members would require for dealing with industry. We have the legal cell, we have 6 lawyers sitting in ICSR, we have a full-fledged IP office. We are able to now file IP in 24 hours. We can do the provisional filing in-house in 24 hours. So a faculty member who wants to publish something does not have to hold back or wait. They just, with 24-hour notice, we can get the paperwork done for a patent. So we believe we have to provide the professional support, we believe we are on the right track, and we want to be responsive. When somebody comes to us, we are able to connect them to the people from industry. Alumni play a very, very important role as mentors, as the people who link us with the right sources, and therefore there is this positive effect. We've set up a specific industry relations office which has people, alumni, many of them, who have had a long stint in industry, come back and they are helping us foster relations of mutual benefit to industry. We strengthen, therefore, the collaboration for both R&D and consultancy, and now we are also looking at commercialization. As I will talk later about IP, you will see that we built up a large portfolio or many portfolios, and now we want to focus on commercialization. Industry obviously is our client. We also think alumni can help us do this, take us closer to commercialization, help us commercialize our IP. We signed more than about 100 MOUs with industry, looking at collaboration, starting off with a non-disclosure agreement, then a joint disclosure, licensing agreements, and so on, which are also there. We have a development office which interacts with all of you. Alumni specifically is run out of Mahesh's office, where they look at alumni and other donors who can fund or help us get corporate social responsibility projects like water. Water is very big. Hindu here has been working a lot with providing pure water, drinkable water to people, and a lot of these projects are funded by industry. We have chair professors, professorships that are funded by industry. Students are sponsored, their travel is sponsored, and pre-incubation is sponsored. So mentoring is something that alumni have done a lot. We appreciate it. We could do it more. So if people can come forward, it would be very beneficial to us. Where is our research going? We can put it into these 3 categories. The basic research, open sky research, which is the bread and butter of a university. IIT is no exception. Publications are one way of disseminating what we do and what we get out of this academic research. Then we have translational research. That is where the industry collaboration comes in. We want our solutions to be relevant. We want to provide solutions to industry. Other areas that we have been working on with space, with ISRO, we have a cell that has been functioning for more than 30 years. And recently we celebrated a big function where we showcased some of the work that has been done for ISRO. With defense, again, in our research park, we have DRDO, which has taken up space to open a gateway so that we can work together with DRDO. And incubation, again, I'll come back to it later. We have a wonderful ecosystem, incubation ecosystem in the research park, which is probably unique to India, if not the world. Transformational research is where we want to change things. We want to look at solutions that have direct societal impact. Water, again, comes up a lot. Healthcare, education, energy. So we have a lot of projects going on. Here you see some of the numbers. We have about 1,500 projects ongoing today, with about 400 plus Indian companies and about 40 foreign companies. And our IP filing is about 130 every year and keeps going up. Now people ask me, how can we engage? What can we do with IIT Madras in terms of consultancy? why should an industry or what can an industry get out of this? So these are the different aspects or these are the different modes, mechanisms. And I think we can fit anybody, anyone who wants to work with IIT Madras can be fit in one of these categories. We can start with something that is industrial consultancy, where you're looking for a solution right off the shelf, checking a design. We have here Professor Meher Prasad, who is one of the top design consultants in the country, who people approach to check if their design is safe, if this is something that can go on. And the validation by IIT Madras means a lot. Testing and certification. A lot of products which do not have standards. People come to IIT Madras to tell the world that this is safe enough. There are a lot of work which goes on where clients believe that if IIT Madras does it, then they have this quality. So all this could be bunched under industrial consultancy, which is basically short-term, giving a solution and something that can be envisioned from the beginning. Then we can talk about joint collaboration, joint research, what we bunch under research-based industrial projects, where there is an agreement, maybe medium long-term, to work together on something. We even build consortia together. IIT Madras and industry can go on together to get funds. So consortia can also be built up. And someone was asking me even this morning, how does IP work? So in this case, we can jointly own the IP. In the consultancy, the client will own the IP. But in this case, we can jointly own the IP, and we can develop it, we can monetize further. They can also be retainer consultants where you are just picking the faculty member's brain. So it's just the faculty time can also be taken up as consultants. We have CSR projects, like the one that Hindu and several others are working on, where a company sets aside some funds, they have to legally, according to regulations, and this money is used to take a solution that IIT Madras has into the world to help the society. We can go on to bigger types of collaboration where we have research centers. The Robert Bosch Center was mentioned. So this is a large center with large funding, which brings about state-of-the-art facilities that are not available in India or sometimes not in other places as well. So this gives the company, this gives the industry the right of first engagement, that they would have the first access to what's coming out or what's happening in these centers. So these centers then will become centers of excellence. Companies can also endow chairs. There are many chairs at IIT Madras which are endowed by companies. So these focus research in certain area. Also it helps in image building and the continuity. So these are the different mechanisms, and I'm happy to discuss these later if there are questions on how these are carried out. So I believe that there is always a mechanism which we can use to engage with anyone who we feel is relevant to us and is of mutual interest. So there's a big list of companies that I can put up. On your left would be the large funding that we get. On the right you have a list of companies who have recently come in. So it's very, very important to realize that there are companies all the time coming in, and we have a very vibrant way of dealing with companies. Now, again, coming back to when we had this discussion at the IIT Summit, so the question was, well, you guys say that you're doing great. What does industry think about you? So what I did...
GE Power engineering in India has been really kind of establishing
so this is what some of our clients tell about us.
With academia to really kind of push the boundaries of research in areas related to engineering, physics and mathematics. And one definitely a great example of that collaboration I would like to call out is our collaboration with IIT Chennai combustion team in terms of really kind of pushing the boundaries of research around problems due to thermoacoustics in our gas turbines. And this interaction, this collaboration has really helped us in terms of advancing our understanding of these thermoacoustic challenges in our gas turbines and help in predicting them. And we are also, I think, interacting with IIT Chennai in the areas of materials technology in terms of looking at some of the future technology areas on materials for use in industry applications. And we are excited about this partnership. It has been something which we have nurtured over the years, and we would like to continue this partnership going forward because we believe IIT Chennai is definitely pushing the boundaries of research related to engineering, physics, and mathematics, and trying to come up with solutions to industry problems. Thank you.
Hi everyone. My experience with IIT Madras. So what I find is that the profs are very much tuned to the needs of the industry, whether it is ease of completing the paperwork, because this used to be an issue some time ago, but not any longer. Then the overall timelines or the feasibility of the solutions, even the commercial angle. So whatever is suggested is indeed practical from all aspects, not just the technical angle. We are doing quite a few projects. So these are related to different kinds of batteries like metal ion batteries, and then mobility solutions. So conception and design, say last mile connectivity solutions. So what kind of a product is required, what kind of user interface, design the entire user experience and these things like that. Just about a week ago, we started working on a X-ray CT of lithium-ion cells and correlating what we see in that with the actual field performance. So overall, very happy with the results delivered, and obviously we will continue to work with IIT Madras.
Afcon's Infrastructure Limited is a part of the Shapoorji Pallonji Group, which has a turnover of around $7 billion and has created a niche for itself in the field of marine, elevated and underground metros, tunnel, expressways, ports and harbors. Afcons has a long association with IIT Madras. Afcons were a part of the founding members of Institute for Lean Construction Excellence, and IIT Madras were also the academic partner to the same. IIT Madras, in fact, has been the change agents in implementing lean practices in the industry. In 2015 and 2019, IIT Madras handheld a few of the founding member companies of lean construction in implementing lean practices on a few select projects. A large number of participants were trained in the use of various lean tools, and directly this resulted in a benefit to that project in as much as 30% in terms of time. Not only this, it developed lean champions across the different companies who in turn were able to propagate lean to their different other projects. So, I have found that my interactions with IIT Madras has always been beneficial, and I hope that Afcons and IIT Madras continue to have a long and cordial relationship in all their endeavors together in future.
A company engaged in building precision grinding machines since 1973, started working with IIT Madras around 10 years ago. IIT Madras researchers and MGP engineers finally built the NGP machine, which can now deliver parts finished to ground to IT3 tolerance grade versus IT5 grade earlier. Encouraged by the success, to join hands with IIT Madras for two new projects in 2016. Success of the industry-academia partnership is largely due to the faculty, researchers, and highly motivated and brilliant students at IIT Madras, admirably led by the individual Mr. Ramesh Babu, head of the mechanical engineering department.
So I think it was better that you heard from our clients rather than me saying how good our work is. So this has led to a very big increase in our funding. Here you see the graph, which is quite impressive. In 2018-19, about 153 crores of funding has come from industry, from about 450 clients and about 1,000 projects spread over several years. This also has an impact on our international footprint. We have had a lot of consultancy projects from international clients as well. Right now we would have about 18 projects, 20 projects from about 15 to 20 clients. So our footprint is also increasing internationally. Coming back to our centers, which provide for what has been discussed from the morning: clean water, housing, power, and so on. So we have initiatives in all these areas. We are looking at healthcare. We have a lot of people who are working on healthcare. We have the MedTech incubator. We have a health tech incubation center. We are working on assistive devices as well. And we have many, many centers. Some of these centers are new, some are older, which cover from combustion, headed by Satya Chakravarti, and we have recent centers such as those on clean water. So what do these centers do? So this is one such center, recently inaugurated for advanced manufacturing technology, set up in the research park. This is an independent sector which can provide solutions as funding from both the industry and government sources. State-of-the-art facility working on modern equipment, modern machinery that can be developed by Indian companies.
The AMTDs works as an independent organization. So it can cater to anybody's demand. And the demand can from the small companies or bigger companies, bigger institutes and smaller institutes. And they can work on completely and develop a new product, test it for both the accuracies and reliability, as well as for the maintainability of the equipment. That way, I think AMTDs has got a wonderful period. But AMTD.
So this is what our centers do. They are not bogged down by bureaucracy. They are totally independent. They can, they don't even have to be inside our campus. This particular one runs out of our research park. So there are faculty members involved, researchers involved, industry is also involved, as well as government agencies. This also gives rise to patents, intellectual property. What we could have alumni helping us is connecting us with potential licensees. We have a lot of IP that we can leverage. We are also looking at opportunities for joint marketing. We have deals where we are giving away about 30% of our income for people who are bringing about or brokering the deal. So this is also something that we would like to. We are working on licensing agreements. We have about 15 with startups. We have very friendly terms with startups. We give them very sweet deals where they do not have to put a lot of funds upfront with multinational companies and others. We have crossed 1,000 filings of patents in India. We have more than 1,000 patents filed. Outside of India, we filed about 340. You can see that again the graph is going up. We are about 140 filings every year now. Grants, we have about 170 grants. In India, you see the different peaks around 2006 and 18-19 where the grants come in batches. We also have a lot of international grants. We have about 120 patents that are protected outside our country. Again, a lot has been happening recently. You will see these graphs going up. This is a fruit of our landscape of IPRB that we have built. We help people, we give knowledge to people, we make them understand that IP is not something that is an alternative to research publications. It is complementary, so they understand how it can be done. We have a responsive IP cell which can quickly turn around, we can quickly help show people if their IP is worth patenting, protecting and so on. There are also incentives and we help in marketing. So this is our whole ecosystem for entrepreneurship. We start off on campus with pre-incubation. Mahesh is one of them, one of the faculty who has invested a lot of time helping students who want to become entrepreneurs. So some funding is given before they leave the campus, before they start their company. Then the incubation cell takes on. So we have a vibrant incubation cell. Mahesh is the professor in charge, where we can help them, give them space, give them auditing support, give them legal support, give them mentoring for them to become a company, then full-fledged company, and then they graduate from incubation. Still then, we are mentored. Their alumni help us a lot in mentoring these companies. This is sort of a numbers, statistics about our incubation. We have about 186 plus companies. 68 have graduated in the sense that it's been 3 years already since they've done. Lot of emphasis on deep tech. It is not just IT or similar, but there's a lot of deep tech incubation which goes on, and here you see the spread. This has happened also thanks to our research park, which is unique in India, and it's much ahead of many other institutions. There, companies which want to work with us and require space proximity can engage. So these are some of the companies. Somebody in the morning was asking, who are the companies? We have a huge variety of companies that have taken space. Some are our own companies, incubated by us. Some are international companies. Some are large organizations like DRDO and so on, which have taken space. So this is quickly what we do at ICSR. What is our incubation ecosystem? What is something that what are the things we do to help? We are also on social media. So please check on us, put things out, bring things to our notice that if we can improve, we are always striving, we have to keep improving. Tell us where we can improve, and if you can help us, we would be very, very grateful to have alumni helping us in terms of increasing our industry outreach, increasing our monetization of our IP and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vijay. I will call on Professor Raghu to talk about his Data Science and AI Center.
All right, Raghu.
That photo is dated by around 15 years, I think.
I just asked
You look
Google
good, man.
the most attractive photo of Raghu, and that's the one that came up. Tell him he still looks good. It was AI at work, okay, so.
Okay, so I will, so till what time is the session also?
How many slides do you have?
200.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay. All right, so I will quickly talk about Robert Bosch Center for Data Science and AI. So this is a CSR center funded by Robert Bosch to the tune of about, I think, in US dollars, $5 million for 5 years. The fact that it is CSR funding means that Robert Bosch cannot get any economic or other benefits out of this money. So what they've given this money for is doing completely fundamental research in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so on. And the idea is for this center to be sustainable. So while we have this money for 5 years to do whatever fundamental research that we want, there's also an onus on us to make it sustainable. So generate funding so that beyond the 5 years, the center is still existing. So for that, we do lots of projects with industry and so on. Just the vision is to become one of the most well-known centers in AI, working in important areas across several disciplines. So as I said before, we look at fundamental research. So most of the research is focused on deep learning, network analytics, working with limited and partial data, causal modeling, and so on. So these are fundamental areas that we work in. And of course, we want to keep it rooted in real-life applications. So we have 4 verticals that we really focus on. One of the verticals is manufacturing, the other one is financial. The third one is transportation. We have a very vibrant transportation group in IIT Madras, and that group works with Robert Bosch Center. And the last one is systems biology and healthcare. And of course, as with every other center at IIT Madras, there is a responsibility to the society. So we also take up societal projects, working with governmental agencies and private donors and so on. So just in terms of some numbers so that you get a feel for what we do, there are about 29 faculty members from 8 different departments. And this is an interesting thing about this center which makes it unique because it's an MLAI center which is housed in an institute known for its technical department. So we have people from every possible department being part of the center. So the work is geared at the interface of engineering and machine learning and so on. There are about 80 researchers now, 54 work from the center. There is a very nice physical location for the center which has been built up where people sit and work, where you can come and visit and so on. And of course, a large number of papers are published and so on. So this is the main thing that I wanted to show you. There's lots of interest in this area. Of course, if you have been not living in a cave, you couldn't have not heard of MLAI and things, wonderful things that MLAI can do. So that means that there's a lot of interest in this area. So we have several companies that have written MOUs with us and working with us. So just to point out a couple, we have Ashok Leyland, you've heard Ericsson, Saint-Gobain, GE, and so on. So these are companies that we work with on manufacturing. We also do socially responsible work. Shankar Netralaya, there is a lot of work that's going on with Shankar Netralaya looking at data analytics. TSS-TI is another institute in Faridabad. And there we are looking at the effect of pollution on preterm pregnancies and so on. So there's a lot of work that we look at both from a social and corporate viewpoint where data analysis has an important role to play. Ravindran of computer science heads this department. Right now we have about 5 core members, Ravindran, Nandan, from management, myself, Geeta Krishnan from civil engineering, and Karthik from biotech. And there is a technical research board that administers the whole center, and the core members will come and go over years. So we are the initial members of the center. Okay, this I already said. Okay, so the key strength of this center is because it's housed in IIT, there's a lot of work which is engineering related. So that makes this center very unique, and all of us who have been working in this area for several years have found a place to come together and look at problems of interest collaboratively. There are multiple ways in which, if you are interested in this, that you can interact with the center. We have programs for visiting researchers to come and spend time in the facility. If you're coming to India and have a couple of months and you want to spend a month, please write to us. If you're interested in this area, we can host you. We have also other programs where we're trying to get post-bac, which is bachelor students who finish in different engineering disciplines who want to get associated with this exciting area. Those folks can come in. We're looking at postdoctoral fellows and so on. So there are multiple ways in which you can interact with us, and I'll be happy to share more later.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate the fact that you did a great job. Okay, thank you. So the next one is Professor Rao, the Solar Energy Harnessing Center.
Is it pointed here? Good morning. That is a picture taken last year.
We might come to
Switch on the box. All right. Good morning once again. So I'm going to talk about the DST-funded Solar Harvesting Center. It's a unique center. This is a picture taken in the inauguration last year. This was funded by the Department of Science and Technology, equivalent of NSF here, funding to the tune of close to $6 million. And then prior to this, DST had also funded about 12 different projects to the tune of about $3 million. So what they envisaged was, they found that IIT Madras is very strong in materials and the engineering aspects. So we have about 25 faculty members from different departments: physics, chemistry, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering coming together to deal with 4 verticals. But before that, if you look at this, there were solar hubs in the north, west, and eastern part of the country, and there was none in south. And so this is the latest one in the south, just came up last year. We are still in the process of establishing it, getting new equipment. But then already DST, looking at the progress, they're already, next week we have a review meeting. They told me last week that they're proposing to make it a center of excellence, even though the 3 other centers existing since many, many years. So there are 4 verticals here. We have very strong groups working in photovoltaics, solar fuels, energy storage, and solar thermal. One is the TWP, Technology Work Package, where the mandate is, the DST wants us to show that we in India can make single heterogeneous solar cells. The capability is still not there. So SHJ stands for single heterogeneous solar cells. So we show efficiencies as high as 20 to 22%, close to 26. And then we have groups working on photovoltaic materials, especially today it's all, the onus is on perovskite-based solar cells. Inexpensive, high efficiency. And we have groups working on DSSE. They're doing very successful work. So integrate this PV, perovskite solar materials, and DSSE to SAJ and make what is called tandem cells. Once you have a tandem cells, you should realize the efficiency is close to 28 to 30%. Okay, so we are looking at making next generation PV cells and solar thermal, energy storage. I'll briefly highlight what is done in the 4 verticals. So I also already mentioned about this, realizing the efficiency is close to 26% in single heterogeneous solar cells. And in phase 2, we go and make the tandem cells with Dyson-based solar cells and perovskite-based solar cells. Basically, these perovskite-based solar cells are organic perovskites. There are issues related to stability. We're addressing all those issues. And this is a group headed by the vertical solar thermal is headed by Professor Sundarajan and this group. As you can see here, they've already set up a plant 60 kilometers from Chennai where they store steam at very high pressure and they use it for refrigeration. And in the new proposal, they're going to scale it up by almost 7 to 8 times. So the land has been given by the Tamil Nadu government, and this is a happening place. And energy storage group is headed by Professor Srinivas Jayanti, where we know that the lithium-ion batteries are well suited for lightweight needs, but when it comes to large-scale storage, you need batteries like the ones they're developing. These are vanadium redox batteries. These are bulky, but they're land-based batteries. But the advantage of this is they're not so expensive, and then you can store power for even a decade without losing a large percentage of the stored power. So that is being very successfully done by Professor Srinivas Jayanti and his group. And the last vertical is solar fuels, and where these people develop the thermochemical fuel generation, and they mostly use metal oxides to break up water and to create hydrogen fuel. And some of the metal oxides again are very inexpensive, and they've been able to successfully use them to generate fuels. There's another interesting thing. See, even though in India we have lots of experts in fabrication, India doesn't have fab labs. It's very unfortunate. I was in Tata Institute of Fundamental Research before joining IIT Madras in mid-90s as a faculty. And I worked in the solid-state electronics group. Very interestingly, the beginning of 80s, the Korean government asked the Indian government to, the solid-state electronic group in Bombay, in KFR, was the first group to have developed the etching process on silicon wafers. So the Korean government wanted the Indian government to give them the expertise. So the Indian government asked the TFR group to send their people to teach the Korean labs the etching process that is involved in making silicon-based circuits. So 5 people were deployed there with the clear instructions that they should give only the information required by them based on the agreement between the two governments, and even if they have to exchange notes among them, among the group that was going there, they should do it in the local language so that secrets are not leaked out. But the point is, you see how where the Korean electronics has gone, in spite of the fact that India had that technology initially. That's because there were no fab labs. These are bad policies that led to not having fab labs. But today, all that is changing. We have a semiconductor complex in Chandigarh, which is doing a very aggressive job of establishing a big fab lab. And they have approached us even to start making silicon balls by crystal method and cutting, wafering, thinning, all that, to have indigenous capabilities to go all the way from growing crystals, making wafers to devices. All right. I'll take half a minute on the perovskites is a very upcoming field, and I think in India we've been very successful. Some of our groups in IIT Madras, they've already achieved efficiencies close to 14%, 15%, and what we are addressing is the stability issues. I think that will be solved soon. Why perovskites? Because you see that there was a recent roadmap, and there are already companies established around the world showing efficiencies as high as 28%. So in our groups in IIT Madras, we were able to get close to 15% and 15% with no degradation over a period of time. Okay, and that's just an example to show that we are indeed getting the problem is when you scale up these devices, perovskite-based devices, there will be a fall in the efficiency. And we are looking at all those aspects. And very quickly, we have a group by Dr. Kodan Raman. They have a record of 12% on dye-sensitive solar cells. And now these DSSC solar cells are going to be scaled up to 1 square foot. And they also have a record of 88% energy efficiency in the redox batteries they have developed there in IIT Madras. And thank you.
Dr. Satya.
Good. So I'm going to first of all start by acknowledging the contribution by our COO, Usha Nagarajan, in collecting all the slides together, and also for this color combination.
Combustion.
Yeah, so it's about combustion. So of course, I mean, we are a large center that we would actually show, and it takes a long time for us to actually collate all the contributions. Every time we have to put up something else. So I started traveling, and so she had to do the work. So we could actually say that we are the largest academic combustion center in the world, because I'm trying to exclude people like Sandia National Labs and so on, which are fairly large combustion research facilities. In fact, combustion research is moved more towards Asia, with the Clean Combustion Research Center at Kaust in Saudi Arabia, or the Tsinghua Combustion Research Center and so on, as well as the NCCRD at IIT Madras and IISc is actually a film center in India here, and so together we actually make a very formidable group. Unlike most of the other academic combustion research centers, we are extremely applied when compared to being very academic. And so we actually want to have technological challenges of the nation in terms of energy and environment. These are the twin challenges that we want to do. So it started with having state-of-the-art facilities, but we also were asked to embrace advanced challenges in combustion that we were supposed to do and have industry interaction and so on. So there were essentially, we started out proposing three verticals which are applied, which is auto, aero, and thermal, but we had faculty colleagues who were interested in fire research and suppression as well. So it turned out we were four things. So there are specific aspects of these different applied areas that we work on. I think the microgravity combustion is actually repeated twice because it has a aerospace application as well as in suppressing fires in outer space. This, I think, is the most important slide to give a sense of the scale and the industry involvement here. So the center started in about the end of 2011 with a 46 crore grant, and Professor Bhaskar, I think, had just become the director, and he was kind enough to get this 5-story building up for us. Which also makes it the largest floor space in the world for combustion research in an academic setting. So we started with about 46 crores, which was at that time about $10 million, but and then we were supposed to be self-sustaining over time and so on. It was a 6-year period for which this money was available. But subsequently, we had DRDO fund a even bigger center called the Center of Propulsion Technology, primarily based on the fact that we had this combustion center, whose facilities could be utilized for part of their research. That takes us to about 83 crores of rupees and so on. So finally, if you look at the bottom line, we've been able to raise about something like 194, and depending upon the dollar to rupee fluctuation, it counts to about some $30 million over a period of about 7 years or so, which I think is a significant amount by any global standards. And of course, we have more projects proposed in the pipeline, which are of even greater value for the foreseeing time. What I will do in the interest of time is to actually flip through a lot of slides, which our colleagues have actually contributed to, just to give you a glimpse of what's happening. For example, in the case of automobile engineering, particularly focused on combustion, we have 4 test cells which are fairly big in most academic settings, and so the focus here is actually on GDI engines, which is the next generation of engines for 2, 3, and 4-wheelers. We work with TVS, in this case Mahindra, and so on. So we also developed an optical engine with TVS, which is fully transparent for us to do diagnostics. This one is an Aero lab where we actually work significantly with GE. You must have seen GE Aviation being like pretty smart and utilizing this center in many ways and pumping in significant amount of money, and also get government funding for us to do research. So this shows like the high pressure spray rig, which is one of those very unique facilities. We have also been doing with GE full 3D printed annular combustors for gas turbines and firing them at very large times, which is also very unique in the world. So on the right hand side, we have an innovation that we actually did with lean direct injections, and Mahesh was actually contributing to the micro sprays that both of them essentially are about distributed combustion systems that are promising extremely low pollutant levels as well as very high combustion stability. So this shows supersonic combustion rig that both ISRO and DRDO are interested in for hypersonic flights. So as part of the propulsion center that we have, the next vertical that we're expecting to take off in the next year or so is on hypersonics, which would involve supersonic combustion to be tested here in a big way. There are a couple of slides that are actually coming up that Vinu will probably talk about. So there's a very large amount of work that's being done on solid fuels, biomass, and so on. So I think I'll leave that for Vinu to do. This is actually a work with BHEL on doing unsegregated municipal solid waste incineration in a novel manner with a rotary kiln combustor. And that's a lot of chemistry for me, so I think I'm going to pass. Vinu can take it up. This is actually very important. In the Indian context, there's like a lot of coal reserves, but most of it is actually about 50% ash content, and so we could crack this problem of getting more than about 75% coal gas efficiency and by optimizing the steam to air ratios and so on. And so we have further plans on trying to do we've actually done co-firing of biomass with coal, and so we have the same thing that can be done for biomass gasification as well. There's a microgravity drop tower, which is the 5th largest in the world. It's actually ahead of the smaller of the two NASA Glenn facilities with a 2.5 seconds of drop time. So on the right and left, we actually have the work that's done on fire sprinklers and characterizing fires itself. I'm going to stop with this slide. There are a lot more slides that are there, but I'm not going to go through all of them. But this slide basically captures a collage of a lot of industry collaboration that we have been working with. We would like to believe that we are like a super busy center. The other thing that's actually happened in the process is I think the John Lennon saying, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. We were supposed to be like a research center, but we should have actually seen this coming. It's now beginning to fuel a large number of very deep tech startups. I mean, the kind of startups we're talking about, we are making micro gas turbine engines, we are looking at launching rockets to space. We are having a electric plane company coming out of here. We started looking at actually a rocket option to Hyperloops, the Avishkar Hyperloop group, and a couple of other colleagues like Satya Seshadri have been doing things like low-cost emission monitoring sensors. There's a rapid cooling smart cold storage system, and I think Vinu will talk more about this. This is a way, I'm going to be tempted to talk a little bit about this. This is a fantastic thing. So the hydrothermal liquefaction, so Vinu has been trying to push on having unsegregated municipal solid waste actually get cooked in a hydrothermal liquefaction reactor to make crude oil, and so this is actually one of the startups that we also have out of the center. I think I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop. Unabashed advertisements, and we'll be talking about electric aviation in one of the panel sessions. So don't go to the other one. Come to me.
Thank you, Satya. So we were supposed to have 15 minutes Q&A. We're going to have 5 minutes Q&A. I hope you have some questions. For those who have some questions, you can step forward. If you have a very loud voice, you can.
I have a loud voice. Mic.
No, I think we still need the mic. We'll appreciate that.
If you have questions, please walk up.
Yeah, for those with questions, if you don't, then I will be forced to ask the questions. We may have time for 2 or 3 questions, depending on. Yeah, please go ahead. Introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ajit Diora. I had a question on the AI and machine learning part of the thing. I'm involved with IIT startups in the Valley. I'm one of the mentors there. We have a lot of very interesting companies. Interestingly, all of them seem to have some AI twist to the story. How do you guys work with startups? Can you sort of give a little bit more detail on what your expectations are, what the business model is, what can the startup get from you, and what would you like to get from the startup? Thanks.
So most of the startups, it's on. So I'll try to do my voice then. So we, all the startups go through the IIT Madras incubation cell, which has a set of faculty who look at the basic idea and how useful, relevant it is, and so on. And there's a lot of mentoring that happens with the faculty who are in the Robert Bosch Center for Data Science and AI. So since we have people working in ML/AI in different verticals, we are able to help across different disciplines and so on. So what IIT looks for from these incubation companies is that once you are incubated by incubation cell, IIT holds a very small share of that company. So that's what you get. For that you get facilities. First 2-3 years you get lots of administrative help and space which is cheaper than the normal rate. So that's what you get from seed funding, and we also get seed funding.
Any people? Do you guys provide any development resources, engineering resources?
Yeah, so basically the IIT ecosystem is very rich with lots of students who can do internships and so on. I actually have to mention this. This might be a very useful thing. We also have now a master's program for dual degree, which is students who come in for a 4-year program who choose to convert to a 5-year program at the end of 3rd year. And those kids have to find projects. and we would very much love them to do projects in companies and so on. So that's an avenue to get very, very high quality resources who can work in the facility itself, being mentored by faculty. So that might be a win-win for both the kids and the company.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have another question?
Hi, I'm Kamal Dugirala, 1981, failed mechanical engineer. My question, the Hyperloop project, we've had a lot of excitement, even though from a distance. I wanted to ask how that came to be, like in terms of the student inspiration versus faculty involvement, both for the idea as well as the execution.
Yeah. So I've been a faculty mentor for the Hyperloop group. So to be honest, it's actually completely student driven. So the students are the ones who actually had this inspiration. So particularly the MTech student in aerospace engineering in our department had, I think, this bright idea one day, why can't we actually run for this pod run contest. So they did go and kind of scout around the first year, not having been selected for the pod run competition, but they, I think, got to the point of submitting the detailed design. But the next year onwards, we have been a little bit more careful, and so we had some faculty people put in place looking at detailed design, document, and see if we can do more due diligence on the document. So we actually got selected, got to the pod run competition, and so the entire team went there to Hawthorne, California, and learned a lot. And then they found that by the time you actually get to a successful pod run, you probably have to be a second timer. So we're actually expecting to upgrade the pod this upcoming year and hopefully show up again next year and maybe get into the cube and do this. But in the meantime, I have been personally, so the moment I actually get into something, I take it a little bit more seriously. So okay, competition is for the kids, but and I also think that this is actually a very important point to discuss in the open. So the competition is actually a distraction. So the competition is about the pod, but actually the Hyperloop is all about the tube. So the tube is actually extremely expensive. So if you want to run it for like several tens or hundreds of kilometers. So we are now working with a bunch of different companies like Tata Steel or L&T and so on to see if we can come up with a consortium and do some research on bringing down the cost of the tube as well as work on the spot so that it can become more affordable in the Indian context. So there is like a parallel activity that we are doing which will actually enlist more faculty research time as well as encourage the competition itself. That's how we are going to go forward.
Okay, thank you. We still have two more questions coming up. So last two, yeah, in view of the time, please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andy Pala. Andy Pala, 1992 MTech Computer Science, worked for Johnson & Johnson for 20 years on IT. But right now, I have a team ready to commercialize some of the innovations in oral diagnostics. My specific question is Dr. or anyone in the panel. Do you have any commercial ready innovations in oral diagnostics space? So specifically, I'll give you an example. How do you use the mic? Sorry about that, I didn't know. So, Adi Kunmara, 1992 MTech Computer Science. I will fast forward quickly. So, a couple of users, I worked for Johnson & Johnson for 20 years in IT. I led global processes in IT and other things. Now, right now, current interest is to commercialize work diagnostic innovations. Specific example being, how do you use saliva or other inputs to early detect diabetics or cancer so that it could become prevention as opposed to very expensive later treatment where the success rates are very low, right? So I know I was very pleased to hear that there's innovation happening, research happening through ICR, Industrial Consultancy Research. So if you can share some details.
Andy, we can certainly discuss. There are several groups who are working on related aspects, from sensors and designing of equipment and so on. So we can certainly talk. And we can see, even if there is not something that is ready to be given, we can use your inputs to pass on to faculty who are working on related areas to develop a technology that you think is fit. So I think certainly we can look at. I very much appreciate someone coming and helping us in co-marketing and marketing of our IP.
We can connect him with people. We have groups working with very simple, effective devices using graphene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking of that, and there are also others in engineering design.
In physics, chemistry, engineering
Yeah.
design, so we'll connect you with them.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I add there? By the way, there are companies already funded that I know of that are using saliva to predict some of the type of stuff you just talked about.
Okay.
So if you want to talk more, I can catch up.
But maybe the IIT Madras technology is better. Maybe we can talk about it.
Okay, I'm Siva Kanasbhavri, class of 95 electrical engineering. I find many people not mentioning it, but Sarah's hostel, which is more important. My question is in a way specific to the AI center, but could be anyone in the panel. I want to make a short pitch to my boss, but I find that in the wall of company logos you put, I find some competitors. How do you firewall? How do you bring down the anxiety level?
Well, generally, whenever a company walks in, this question arises. So we, before we talk specifics, we have a NDA, non-disclosure agreement, and we make sure that everything is well boxed in. In the same lab, you would have competitors also having projects, but we make sure that there is not enough permeability of results, and we can ensure that this will not happen. In terms of IP, also, if it's a joint work, we protect the IP, we make sure that the IP is jointly owned. In the agreement, we also write down what is the background IP that is coming from the company, and we will ensure that that is not used where it should not be done. So I think you should not be afraid that a competitor is working with us. Actually, you should look at it as a benefit that if your competitor is working with us, that means we are doing good for your competitor, and why don't you get the same benefit?
I can add to that a little bit because at the commercial center we have a lot of these aerospace engine companies from around the world, like GE or Pratt & Whitney, Rolls-Royce, all of them actually try to use the space. So recently we in fact upgraded this kind of data security that we are offering to some of our clients to make sure that the data is not porous across these different companies. So GE, for example, had NDAs that Professor Gator mentioned, even get signed by the project associates and students, as well as they've provided their own separate laptops for data to actually go only to the GE library and so on. So all of these things are actually getting in place. So it's like super professional.
Yeah. Also another example is, I'm from civil engineering. All major construction chemical companies have worked with us. And they know that we have worked with others also. But we've never had any issue with them.
You can also specifically mention automotive, Ashok, Leyland, Mahindra, Ford. All of them are already working with us. So it's already well established that these are not concerns that you should.
And further, sometimes it might be good for all of them to go together. For example, we have a center called CAR, which is the Center for Advanced Automotive Research, where we are bringing in different companies, competitors, the same platform to address needs that could be common and pushing the yardstick forward in certain aspects.
Same goes for defense, for example. So we need to actually hold on to defense secrets and stuff. So we do well.
Okay, I think that has been a wonderful session. If you agree with me, put your hands together. It's nice to see these professors coming all the way from IIT Madras to share their experiences and knowledge and see what can be done in a collaborative setting. Our next item on the agenda for today is a coffee break. So you will go to the lobby and have a little coffee. And right after that, if you hold on for a minute, I'll tell you what's next so you know where to go after this. We have two parallel sessions that will happen starting 11:30. We ran a little over here, but we will take your coffee inside and listen to the sessions if you'd like to. One session is on energy, transformative innovations to power the globe. And the energy session is in room 1, which is the other room. The session that's going to take place here is called Advanced Materials, Nanomaterials Enabling Sustainability. So pick your session that you want to attend to. You will not miss anything because we are recording these sessions, and you will get to watch them ultimately as well. Right now, please, there's still some leftover breakfast. Don't load up because we have lunch in a little bit.